This meeting is called to order. It's the September 11th, 2025 meeting of the North Little Rock School Board. Roll call, please. Ms. Colquitt?
Dr. Redis, Mrs. McLean.
Here.
Mrs. Waltham.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mrs. Temple.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Ms. Carson West.
Here.
Could we just take a moment in silence because this is 9/11? Thank you. Okay, Dr. Paluski, we have our student expulsion hearing number 1.
Yes, ma'am. Members of our board, Madam President, members of our Board of Education, the first is student expulsion hearing number 1, which will be 3.1. And Ms. Randall, we're going to start with you. Is the student and or their family here?
No, they're not coming, so this would need to be a closed hearing.
Then I would recommend, Madam Chair, that this be a closed hearing.
Okay,
To
we
the
will have
public.
a closed hearing.
Madam Vice President, Superintendent, the board recommends that D, identification 67001524 will be recommended for expulsion for the attendance in the North Rock School District for the year 2026.
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded that the recommendation for 67001524 is that student be expelled for the remainder of the 24-25 school year for violation of North Little Rock School District policy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam-
Okay, next we have the employee hearing.
Yep.
Bye, Ms. Bronson. See you next time. Well, not for this, but around the school. Hopefully
See
not
you at the
for this.
football game tomorrow night.
What's up? Hey.
Good evening.
Mr. Palmer, we normally, the administration sits at that table, and the employee sits at this table. Do you have any exhibits to present to the board? Any exhibits, any documents you want the board to see?
Hey, my friend.
I asked the district, could I come print copies? I asked them for the video stuff and I was denied.
Okay, so you have any documents with you right now?
I have a letter statement on text message that I can forward to anybody's email.
Okay, well, maybe we can just read it. If that's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and have a seat. Well, either one, whichever one you're comfortable at.
Do you want this passed out?
Are you ready, Mr. Palmer?
Yes, sir.
These are on here tight. Yeah, take mine.
Thank you.
I'll just take this. They're tight on me.
Tight, tight, tight. Thank you.
Do you want me to give it on the board, the opening statement? Or do you want to do that? Okay. Mr. Beckett, you ready? Yes, sir. All right. You need to call us back to order, or you ready? Okay.
I'll call this meeting to order.
No.
Okay, we are now live in an employee hearing.
All All right, before I make the opening statement, I would ask everyone to silence all of their communication devices. If you do receive a call, please step outside the room to carry on the conversation. This meeting is called for the purpose of hearing the recommendation of the superintendent that the employment contract of Mr. Andre Palmer, an employee of the North Little Rock School District, be terminated. Mr. Palmer is here in his own capacity, and the administration is represented by Attorney Jay Beckett, who will assist the administration in its presentation. We'll follow the familiar procedure of the superintendent making his recommendation and then setting forth the reasons for the termination, either the superintendent or another administrator. When the administration's statement is completed, the witness may be questioned by the employee, Mr. Palmer, and then by the board members themselves. The procedure will be followed for each additional witness the administration calls, if any. When the administration's presentation is completed, the employee may go forward with his own statement and the statements of others he intends to call. Anyone making a statement on behalf of the employee may be questioned by the administration's attorney and by the board. Since the law makes no provision for formal cross-examination, any questioning will be done in an informal and conversational manner. At the conclusion of the presentation, Mr. Beckett or Mr. Palmer may make closing statements with a reply by Mr. Beckett. I must emphasize once again that the purpose of the hearing is to bring before the board the recommendation that the employment contract of Mr. Palmer be terminated, and only matters relevant to that recommendation will be permitted. Mr. Palmer, you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll begin with Mr. Beckett.
Thank you, sir. Do the board members have copies of the administration's exhibits?
Yes, sir, it has been distributed.
Thank you. Yeah, so just for the board, page 2 is the August 1, 2025 recommendation by Dr. Paluski for Mr. Palmer's termination. It lists all the different reasons in the bullet points on pages 2 and 3. And may we call our first witness?
Please proceed.
Yeah, call Ms. Bryant.
Ms. Bryant, if you want to join us, if you don't mind sitting next to Mr. Beckett.
Good evening, Ms. Bryant. State your name and your position in the district for the record.
Good evening. My name is Tia Bryant. I am the administrative assistant to the child nutrition director.
And how long have you been employed by the district?
This is year 22 for me.
And how long have you been in the child nutrition area?
22.
All right, awesome. And so you're knowledgeable with the policies, practices, and procedures that the child nutrition department is to implement?
Yes, sir.
All right, and if you turn to page 2 in the exhibit packet, this is the termination notice that I just referred to. The date is August 1, 2025 to Mr. Palmer. So tell the board who Andre Palmer is.
Mr. Palmer is a manager for us at the North Little Rock Middle School.
Okay? And tell us what a manager's general duties and job responsibilities are.
Manager's general duties and responsibilities are to ensure that staff is coming in on time. They do food ordering. They do inventory at the end of the month. They participate in special dates with our students, anything that has to do with food service, followed under the guidelines of ADE and the United States Department of Agriculture.
And does the manager of each cafeteria and Mr. Palmer specifically, do they supervise the cafeteria staff at their respective locations?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so you see the bullet points on pages 2 and 3,
Yes, sir.
and they refer to failing to do monthly inventory counts, submit proper time and temperature logs, improper work attire, excessively and chronically absent and tardy, and falsification of a timesheet, failing to properly comply with state law regarding sourcing food, sleeping during work hours, improper interactions with district students, and rude and unprofessional interactions with staff.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with those allegations?
I am.
Okay. Now what I'd like you to do, so page 6, is this Mr. Palmer's 24-25 school year employment contract?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Starting on page 7, we have some records regarding training that is provided to child nutrition staff. Are you familiar with that training?
Yes, sir.
Do you attend the trainings?
I do attend the training.
Okay, and it looks like we've got over 45 pages of training documents. The board can review these, but it looks like during the relevant time period, there were trainings held in August of 2024, January of 2025, and May of 2025.
Yes, sir.
And did Mr. Palmer attend all those trainings?
He did.
And did those trainings basically cover the waterfront as far as what is supposed to happen in a school cafeteria?
Yes, sir. It covers all of our training that we have, and it also covers anything new that comes down from ADE.
And then as the secretary to the director, you're familiar that there have been issues, shall we say, with Mr. Palmer's job performance
Yes,
over
sir.
the last few years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so, for example, turn to page 54, please. So going back to December of 2022, Mr. Clements and Ms. Dennis wrote Palmer up and gave him a performance improvement plan for, among other things, not creating a cooperative and respectful relationship with the staff he supervises, correct?
Yes, sir.
And was that like a recurring theme?
It became a recurring theme. Yes, sir.
Right. And then the next page, page 56, this looks like an email from Ms. Dennis to Mr. Palmer in December of 2022, giving Mr. Palmer some resources to help him improve his communication skills with staff.
Yes, sir.
And then page 57, we have another improvement plan from October of 2024, again talking about improving cooperative and respectful working relationships with his staff, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then page 58, this looks like a couple of assignments that Ms. Dennis gave Mr. Palmer regarding training to help improve his communication.
Yes, sir.
And so it looks like in the child nutrition department, we also have employees filling out self-assessments.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so we have a self-assessment on pages, beginning on page 60 from February of 2023. And do you see where Mr. Palmer checked every category as an area for growth?
Yes, sir.
And do you see in the evaluation ratings, an area of growth is defined as, in part, some performance is inadequate, corrective measures may be necessary.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Palmer's own self-assessment was that he had some areas to correct.
Yes.
And then page 63, we have another evaluation. This one from Ms. Dennis. And we've got several areas for growth in the quality of work, judgment, decision-making, compliance, and relationships and communication.
Yes, sir.
And then another evaluation by Ms. Dennis in May of 24, that starts on page 68. And we've got another 4 areas of growth: communication, organization, judgment, decision-making, flexibility, and adaptability. You see those?
Yes, sir.
And then another self-assessment in January of this year, page 74 and 75, where again, Mr. Palmer concedes that every area that is quantified in the assessment is an area of growth for him.
Yes.
And then the most recent evaluation we have that you actually conducted was in May of 2025. This is on page 78. And explain these areas for growth that you checked. mean, the board can read them, but
Yes, I check number one, quality of work. Work is accurate, thorough, neat, and completed in a timely manner. It was not. I also checked quantity of work, effectively produces work in accordance with the job description. I checked job skills, demonstrating skills and job performance requiring minimum direction. I checked flexibility and adaptability. I also checked judgment and decision-making, organization, and I checked efficiency, task and organized to be completed materials and organized is used efficiently. And then I also checked compliance, and I checked attendance as well.
and then also on page 79, you check punctuality, relationships, and professionalism.
I
as
did, yes, sir.
Deficient areas in his performance.
Yes, sir.
Now turn over to page 84, please. In addition to the improvement plans and the core evaluations, Mr. Palmer was written up a number of times over the past couple of years. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
So, page 84, looks like November of 2023, he was reprimanded for failing to follow a directive.
That's correct.
And then the next year, October of 2024, he received a written reprimand for his poor communication to the staff.
Yes, sir.
And then here's the most recent reprimand, May 13, 2025. I believe you prepared this. Is this correct?
I did.
Okay.
What page are you on now? I'm
This is
sorry.
page 88. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Ms.
okay.
Wilson. So page 88 is the May 13, 2025 reprimand. And it's very helpful because you splice together the deficiencies with actual handbook and legal references
Yes, sir.
to support the allegations. So you list the following violations on page 88: substandard work, tardiness, absenteeism, poor treatment of his coworkers, violating handbook provisions, confidentiality, and then violation of Arkansas law for handling of food, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then on page 89, you've got these handbook references. So the first one is the handbook speaks to student interactions.
Yes, sir.
Child nutrition staff are not to reprimand any student.
Correct.
That's for educators,
Yes.
okay? And then the other two items there are how you should treat staff members in the department, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go to the top of page 90. It talks about the inventory reports. What was the problem there?
The inventory reports, the problem is that each month, at the end of the month, we are expecting an inventory report from the 13 locations. The inventory reports lets us know how much money is needed to be spent versus how much food is left in the building. So we have food left in the building. Our procedures are first in, first out, so that we don't waste food and dollars, and we don't purchase food that we can't yet cook or prepare for the students.
Okay, and what was the problem or the deficiency specifically at Mr. Palmer's cafeteria?
Mr. Palmer's cafeteria only submitted 2 to 3 inventory reports within the last 2 years.
Okay, and how does, I mean, I know the handbook requires it on a monthly basis.
It does, but we, Mary Lee, our previous leadership, also allowed them to 3 extra days past the end of the month to get the inventory completed, but it wasn't being completed.
But Mr. Palmer, he only submitted 2 or 3 out of the inventory reports that were due for like last year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and does that create a problem for the child nutrition division?
It does.
How so?
It creates a problem because, first of all, we don't know how much food is on hand, whether or not we have enough service to to give out food to our students. It also lets us know that whether things are being, sent out first in or first out basis. And then it could, if food is left in the freezer or refrigerators and they're outdated, that's a loss of money. And then it's also a possibility that food could have gotten served to a student. So it's a health issue.
Now, at the bottom of page 90, this reprimand talks about the time and temperature logs. And, it didn't copy very well. but at the top of page 91, is this a chart that somehow speaks to those time and temperature logs?
Yes, everything
Can
that's
you
in
walk
the.
the board through that?
Yes, so on a monthly basis, we have time and temperature logs. We have at least 7 to 9 logs. These logs are compliant, are supposed to be compliant as far as refrigeration. Each morning, managers are to go and check the time and temperatures of their refrigerators and report that. We also have what we call food production records, food temperature logs where they keep those. We need to know that that food is being prepared correctly, that if it's cold, it's 41 degrees. If it's hot, it's at least cooked up to 165 degrees for service. Each menu is listed, and they have to, give us a temperature log for that. The storage room for our storage for our food, it has to be 70 degrees. If it's past 70 degrees, we're not complying with Arkansas Department of Education. So there's several things. Thermometer calibration. We need to know that when you're using that piece of equipment, when you put it in the food, that piece of equipment actually works. So we do require them to calibrate their thermometers to make sure that they're reading correctly. There's several reports that they have to send us in. So each month, each of these forms are compiled, and they're sent in by 13 different locations.
And if I'm reading this correctly, at the bottom of page 90, there are 3 different regulators that will review those time and temperature logs.
Correct.
Because I guess you got the Department of Health, the Department of Ed, and DHS.
Yes, sir.
And is that because this is a student safety issue?
It is.
Okay. And we take those issues seriously.
We do. Our students are our first priority. So all of these things through the Department of Health, even if we're inspected just as if any other restaurant is inspected. So the Department of Health comes in, the Department of Human Services come in. That's usually to deal with our commodities and food items such like that. And then the Arkansas Department of Education is who we're under, and that's how we feed our students.
Okay, and so on page 91, there is this area of the reprimand addresses the improper work attire of Mr. Palmer. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the board can read this, and I guess on page 93, this is a full-page picture of what Mr. Palmer was wearing.
Yes, sir.
And I guess somebody named Donna said, wow, he worked in those clothes? Really?
Actually, that's me.
Well, that's you that said that.
Yes, sir. So once we lost leadership, we had to take position, myself and Krista Stevens. And I became the person who dealt with personnel issues. And I was getting several calls and text messages concerning Mr. Palmer's behavior.
Okay, I have a quick question. What does he have on?
I was just getting ready to ask.
Okay, because I was like,
Can you, well, I'll tell you what. So you've got the handbook requirements for, cafeteria employee dress.
Yes, sir.
Can I state what I had on?
He'll have an opportunity.
Okay.
Right, we're
Yeah.
Okay.
So
jumped a little bit out of order.
if you can address,
We're gonna stick with the administration and make sure that Mr. Beckett gets through his presentation, then you'll have your opportunity to ask questions,
so if you
and
could,
then we'll have board questions.
thank you. If you can address, Ms. Bryant, what Mr. Palmer was wearing and why that violated the child nutrition handbook.
Yes, sir. Our uniform policy states that the child nutrition shirt should be a blue polo shirt. Usually has a North Little Rock School District child nutrition logo on it. His pants should be black, navy blue, or khaki. He's supposed to wear an apron, which is, we provide for them, which is North Little Rock blue, yellow, or black. And his shoes must be closed-toed, non-skid shoes for kitchen purposes, for health reasons.
And safety reasons.
And safety reasons, yes, sir.
Okay, and so what was Mr. Palmer wearing?
Mr. Palmer came to work dressed down as if he was on a casual date.
Okay, what kind of shoes was he wearing?
They were not non-skid, they were all name, everything he had on was name brand from head to toe.
Okay, so nothing he was wearing complied with the policy?
It did not.
And since Mr. Palmer's the manager and leader of that department, does that send a poor message to his staff?
It does, he's to set an example.
Okay, so page 94, I believe, speaks to the excessive absenteeism and patterns of tardiness. Walk the board through the evidence of absenteeism and tardiness.
Yeah, so most of the times I would have to contact Mr. Palmer. I'm responsible for taking care of the payroll. Some days he'd clock in or clock and wouldn't clock out. I have to call him and ask him what time did he leave the building. Most days his assistant manager would contact me and say he's left the building again, or he's not here but he clocked in, and I would tell her, well, have him call me when he gets back. And Mr. Palmer at one point told me that he'd made it to work, clocked in, and he immediately left. And so the assistant manager contacted me and said, he's gone. And I said, what do you mean? She said, he's not here helping me. He's gone. So I told her, I said, well, you know, is he running, you know, going to a different school to get something? Because that would, you know, let me know that he's okay to be on the clock to do that. She said he had something personal to take care of. When Mr. Palmer returned, he called me and said, Ms. Dawn said you called looking for me. And I said, yeah, I actually looked at the cameras and noticed you clocked in and you left. Where'd you go? And he said, oh, well, could you clock me out? He wanted me to fix his time.
Okay, so
So he said he told me he forgot to clock out, which was impossible because you just clocked in and you left.
so how many absences did Mr. Palmer have during the 24-25 school year?
Well, according to this report, it was 23.24 days, and I can tell you of the 46 entries, at least 28 of those entries were personal things that Mr. Palmer was just in and out of the building. And he did not submit a form letting us know that he needed to take these personal leave time.
Okay, and that's required by policy.
It is.
And in addition to that, over 20 days of absences during the school year, that would be defined by policy as
As
excessive.
excessive absenteeism.
Correct. And then what about the tardies?
The tardies were the same. Sometimes Mr. Palmer, he'd come in, he'd come to work. In our policies, in our handbook, it says that if you come to work late, you're just late and you're gonna be docked. You may not stay late to make up that time. Mr. Palmer would do that. He would come in late and he would stay late to make up his time for the day. And I sent several emails to Mr. Palmer, let him know you're in violation of our, you know, policy as far as clocking in and then clocking out, and it still just continued to happen.
Now, did staff at the middle school cafeteria, or maybe Mr. Palmer himself even, did they try to take the position that Palmer told staff, or Palmer told you that since he was a manager, he didn't have to clock in?
This comes from his staff, that he doesn't have to clock in or out.
He told the staff.
That's what he told his staff.
And is that true?
I'm not quite sure because I wasn't in the room with
No,
him.
I'm asking, are managers required in the North Little Rock School District to clock in and clock out?
Absolutely. Everyone's required to clock in and clock out at their scheduled time. We have what we call meal per labor hours, which allow us, for the number of students that are in the schools, we can have a certain number of employees to make sure that those meals are being prepared correctly. And so, yes, every staff member has a set schedule that they are to adhere to.
And then on page 95, what about the timesheet falsification?
That was where I was having to contact Mr. Palmer all the time to ask him, what time did you leave? What time did you make it? So some days it would be there was no clock in but a clock out, or sometimes it would be he would clock in but then wouldn't clock out. And most of those times the manager would say, well, I don't know where he is, or, you know, when he clocked out or when he left.
Okay.
And so I would have to constantly contact Mr. Palmer to say, what time did you make it to work this morning? Or what time did you leave today?
Now, did the child nutrition policies allow an employee or even a manager to come in late and then stay late to make up time?
No, sir.
That's prohibited under the policy?
It is, and it's also in our handbook.
Okay. And then, let's flip over to page 97. This is the violation of the Arkansas Food Code. So walk the board through what we're talking about here.
Okay, so the violation of the food code is in a school setting, in a cafeteria that's being run by the Arkansas Department of Education under the National School Lunch Program, you can only cook foods that are program source foods that are for the students to be prepared. You can't bring in outside food from a grocery store or from a restaurant or anything like that and prepare it and serve it to our students. It has to be a program provided food.
Okay, and specifically, I guess this is due to student and staff allergy compliance, no peanuts, shellfish, shrimp, or fish
Yes, sir.
But we had information that Mr. Palmer actually brought shrimp into the building to create a meal for staff
On several days.
on several days.
Yes, sir.
And then-
Fish, shrimp, whatever it is Mr. Palmer wanted, it was like his cafeteria became his kitchen at his home.
Okay, so, and then he made a special breakfast that consisted in part of like salmon patties?
Yes, sir.
Again, that would be a violation.
Waffles, salmon patties, yes, sir.
Okay. And that's a student's safety issue.
It is, because certain components, if there's an allergen, especially if a child has an allergy to something and has to use an EpiPen, that becomes detrimental. Some allergens actually produce air in the air, and it stays in the air. So if you're cooking fish, that smell of the fish and all of that, it's actually in your clothes. And if you get near a student with that on you, then that child can go into anaphylactic shock. And that's one of the reasons why we don't do the shellfish and certain allergy foods in our district.
Okay. Well, now let's flip over to page 99. And we've arrived at the sleeping during regular work hours, not on break issue. So can you walk the board through these pages, the photos, and when the photos were taken? And
Yes, sir. So the first photo that you'll see was on the image. It was on April the 25th of 2025 at approximately 8:45 p.m. The reason I said that it was 8:45 p.m. is
8:45 p.m.?
a.m. I'm sorry, a.m. The reason I said it was 8:45 a.m. is because the clock above Mr. Palmer's head kind of tells me that that's what time it was. And this was sent over by his assistant manager who was complaining. His assistant manager was a new manager, and she kept feeling like once she got in there, like Mr. Palmer just dropped the ball, wouldn't assist, wouldn't do the things that he needed to do. And that's the picture of him sleeping.
Okay.
The second picture there,
That's page 102.
yes, sir, 102, I think 103 shows a bigger picture. That second picture was taken on May the 8th of 2025. It was actually sent to the assistant manager from a coworker, Mr. Robertson. He stated that instead of Mr. Palmer helping to assist with getting the food truck items in the freezer and put up, he tasked that one individual to do it. And this is what he was doing at the end of the day. And it couldn't have been a lunch break. That was the main thing Mr. Palmer argued with us about, was that he was on a lunch break. So at 8:45 in the morning, if you're just arriving at 6:30, you shouldn't be on a lunch break. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you get off at 3, you should not be on a lunch break. Most of the lunch breaks are scheduled between 10 and 10:30 a.m. for our district, for our staff,
And again, Mr. Palmer was sleeping in the office
at 2:25 p.m.
and in the presence of his staff.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so his staff took these pictures.
Right. All right, then turning to page 104, we've got a series of records that just talk about other problems that we were having with Mr. Clements, inappropriate interactions by Mr. Palmer with students, and inappropriate and unprofessional interactions with staff.
Yes, sir.
So, I guess the first one here is on the top of page 104. Apparently Mr. Palmer was pulling students from the lunch line and making them do push-ups?
Yes, sir. Several times we received calls. Students know that they're not supposed to have on like hoodies or hats or caps or anything like that, and that was something that Mr. Palmer always would say something to the students about. Yet, he was not to reprimand a student whatsoever. If there was an issue, he was to go to an administrator and let the administrator know. Then we received calls that he was pulling students out of the line who were maybe, I don't know, disruptive, too loud, or anything like that, and making them do push-ups on a dirty floor in the cafeteria.
And then we've got a couple of incidents involving staff. One, Donna Baker, and the other one, Lemuel Laster.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about those situations.
Well, on May the 8th, Ms. Baker called our office crying, and at that time we were in a meeting with Colonel Stanger, our chief of staff, Mr. Stanger, and I had to stop to answer the phone, and it was his assistant manager on the phone crying. profusely saying that she can't do it. Like, she was just getting upset, saying that he wouldn't follow through. He came in with an attitude that day. She was up and she was cooking and preparing foods for the students, and said that Mr. Palmer came in, and I don't know if I don't know what was going on with him, but she said he made it like as if she was dumb and was not able to do her job. He was telling her if she'd had paid attention and known that the door was open, he yelled about the cafeteria door being open, he yelled about a computer being down, and yet she was in the back preparing meals and doing what she was supposed to do for our students.
Right. So that Mr. Palmer was apparently very rude and inconsiderate and was yelling at her.
Yes, sir.
And then what about Mr. Laster?
Mr. Laster called me as I was compiling this report, actually, and he called to say that something needed to be done about Mr. Palmer, that he was working in a hostile environment, that there was a little bit too much closeness with Mr. Palmer, his tone and everything, telling them that they were incapable of doing the job, that they weren't smart enough to do, the job, that he could handle the job, by himself or with just an assistant manager, making them feel as if they were incompetent of doing the food service.
Okay, and then it looks like pages 105 and 106 relate to Mr. Palmer just not completing checklists as he's been trained to do.
Yes, sir.
Kind of walk the board through page 105 and 106.
Yes, sir. This email actually came from our coordinator, our previous coordinator, Mr. Josh Clements. Just addresses Mr. Palmer and his previous assistant manager who left us to be with safety team. After completing the final walkthrough at the end of the year, we have compliances. We must make sure that computers are unplugged, things are done. We do this during the summer breaks, we do this during winter breaks, and it's an energy efficient thing, honestly, to save dollars for the district. If we're not using it, they're to unplug computers and they're to follow through. We provide them with a checklist of the items that they're supposed to complete, and Mr. Palmer did not complete. Computer in his office was left plugged in. The point of service computers were left plugged in, but it needed to be due to the internet being cut off on Friday. The mixer was left plugged in, the microwave was left plugged in, and the energy conservation checklist was not received on Friday, March the 17th, which was the deadline.
And is page 106 kind of a similar situation?
106 is a similar situation, and this was sent by our previous director, Ms. Mary Lee Dennis, just saying hi there after completing the final walkthrough of your kitchen for summer break to ensure that your energy conservation checklist and the cleaning checklist were completed. There are many follow-up cleaning items I need for you to complete prior to the first day of school. Please see the attached specific items that she wanted him to clean, and there is an attachment.
So, and then page 107, looks like you sent an email to Mr. Palmer on September the 25th, 2024.
I did, and it was.
Tell the board why you sent this email with this information.
What I do is, rather than, since I was charged with doing personnel, what I would do was send a reminder of our handbook policies. If there was any violations going on, I would send that specifically to the person to remind them, you are not in compliance. This is the uniform policy. Let's make sure that we're abiding by these policies.
Because you had concerns that Mr. Palmer was not complying with the uniform
Correct.
policy, the food code policy, and the ADA policy.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
so those were reminders to him to, hey, let's buckle down and make sure that we're following these policies. They're here, let's follow these policies.
And then the same thing regarding page 109, the email you sent to all the child nutrition team members on March 18th, 2025.
I did, and I also blind copied the director and the coordinator as well. And
Right.
it was just reminding them of hours of work, what it means to have overtime authorization. There's no overtime. You must contact the office. Even if a crew is running late, say things come up, special events for students and things like that, if they're running late, they're to contact the child nutrition office and say, hey, we're running late, we're still cleaning tables. That way we can make sure that that time is that was the accurate time that everyone worked. Even hours of work and reporting absences, the same thing. Everyone knows these procedures and how to follow them. yet they were not being followed by Mr. Palmer.
Right, and Mr. Palmer and the other managers, I mean, they receive training on these things every
Correct,
year.
correct. This is me sending refreshers. This is me, just sending refreshers. Hey, let's get honed down on these things because, of course, I'm doing payroll, so I'm knowing who's coming in tardy, who's coming in late and trying to stay late, and I'm having the correct time. And for 70 to 80 people to go in on a daily basis and say, hey, look, this is getting out of hand. So that's why you see the former director and coordinator blind copied on that email.
And then turn over to page 122. These next several pages look like they are reports from people that work under Mr. Palmer at the middle school cafeteria complaining about how he treats them. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
So, the board can read all this if it wants to, but just kind of summarize. So what was, page 122, what was Kendrick Sanders complaining about?
Kendrick Sanders was complaining about working in a hostile environment. He said that in instances of an employee's negligence and unfair treatment under their leadership, which have contributed to a hostile and unprofessional work environment. The actions not only affect employees' morale, but also have made an increasingly difficult, to retain current staff and attract new hires.
And then page 123, I mean, this is an anonymous complaint, but this talks about Mr. Palmer being very rude, unprofessional, speaks angrily.
Yes, sir.
They have to work in fear and retaliation.
Correct. Every employee shouldn't have to work in fear or retaliation of their manager. We are good staff. On the days that Mr. Palmer is absent, the flow is very easy. We work together better under Ms. Dawn.
And then talks about Mr. Palmer always sleeping in his office.
Yes, sir. And it says cook shrimp pasta and lasagna in the month of April for other employees in the district. Mr. Palmer never helps out. He is always asleep and in his office and playing chess on his phone. When I first was introduced to Mr. Palmer during our first training session, Mr. Palmer had to be told to put his computer down because he chose to play checkers or chess on it rather than pay attention to the training.
And then on page 125 is Mr. Lester's email regarding how he was
Oh,
objected.
yes, this was a different staff member, Lemuel Laster. He
Yeah.
worked under us with G1 Staffing, which is a third-party company, and he was saying that Mr. Palmer told me that I am beneath him in front of other coworkers because I don't have a bachelor's degree. Now he has also mentioned that he runs the kitchen, and what he says goes. I have heard that so many times from so many different staff members concerning Mr. Palmer that I was just tired of hearing it. The reason you have the statements is because I didn't want to pit people, the he say, the she says, or anything like that. So I just advised every staff member that was having a problem to just submit a document. That way it wouldn't look like I was the person saying everything or just was against Mr. Palmer.
And then again, page 126, someone named Elijah Davey
Yes, sir.
is talking about how Mr. Palmer said you can just take items home.
Correct. So I was challenged to go to the school at North Little Rock Middle School, to which the staff had called and said they had a member of the G1 staffing agency stealing items from the school. Made it there. Safety school team was there. I was grateful for them, and Mr. Palmer was outside as well. The staff member sat on the step, and as we looked in the vehicle of the car, he had 2 5-gallon pails of cooking oil. He also had 2 5-pound things of ground beef and several snack items that were sold on the a la carte line. But he stated that Mr. Palmer told him that when certain people aren't around, that it was okay for them to take things, and that Mr. Palmer knew as well. But when he got caught, Mr. Palmer did not speak up for him.
Okay, and then let's flip over to page 136. It looks like this is an email thread between you and Mr. Palmer, and Mr. Palmer even treated you the way he treats his staff.
He did, and
Page 136.
Yes, sir. So, this was an email because Mr. Palmer continued to call the office, and this was after, I guess he was addressed by Human Resources and the Chief of Staff. He called he wanted to know who reported what was being said, why was he receiving what he was receiving, why they came in the middle of his lunch shift. And he just kept calling the office, and I asked Mr. Palmer to stop calling the office. But his tone was totally different. It was as if he was upset. So in this email, Mr. Palmer, I refuse to go back and forth with you over your own personal issues. I will not have you interrogating me about what is going on with you or the protocols and processes from higher level up of chain of command. Did I know that they were coming? No, I did not. He just insisted that you knew that they were coming, and I was like, I did not know what day anyone was coming. We're all in operation. His tone was not a nice tone whatsoever, and so I just didn't want to speak to Mr. Palmer after several calls.
May I have clarification? Who came? I'm sorry.
Chief of Staff and Human Resources
Okay,
Director.
thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
I needed to know that. I'm
And
sorry.
then on page 140, Ms. Bryant, you've actually got an employee, Ms. Gilbert, who said that she loves the children at the middle school, but she just, because of the way she was treated by Mr. Palmer, she just can't work with him and wants to be moved from the middle school.
Yes, and for some reason, I don't know what happened with Ms. Gilbert and Mr. Palmer, but it wasn't good. She would call and cry, and some days she wouldn't come to work the next day because of whatever instance happened between her and Mr. Palmer. The assistant manager said that she would always have to break Mr. Palmer away from the co-workers because he yell at them or say things to them and then tell them that this is his kitchen and he runs it that way, and they just needed to follow suit.
And then, let's look at pages 140, 142, 143, and 144. Do you know what these records are? They look like employee complaints about Mr. Palmer's abuse.
They are. I know that the first one, and for 22 years working in this district, when people turn in things or send letters or write or sign their names, I kind of know who they are. Most of them did not put their names, so I wrote their names in to let you know who actually wrote the statements.
So 141 and 142, do you remember that employee?
Yes, sir. 141 is Miss Betty Fox, and 142 is Miss Diana Quick, who works in the North Little Rock Middle School.
Okay, and 143,
That's Diana Quick, I'm sorry. 141 and 142 are the same person. It's just a continued letter. 143 is Miss Diana Quick.
and then 144, who's Theodist Owens?
Theodis Owens is a staff member, custodial worker.
Okay,
And Mr. Owens' issue with Mr. Palmer was, in our district, we have what we call earned meals. If someone is actively helping out the child nutrition staff, wiping tables, taking out trash, assisting students, sweeping floors, then to us, they've earned a meal at no charge. And for some reason, Mr. Palmer had an issue with giving Mr. Theodis an earned meal. He had to report to Mr. Palmer, or Mr. Palmer had to actually see him doing the work before he could get a meal.
but Mr. Palmer would give other people,
Correct, and that was the issue that Ms. Dawn had with that. She had to step in at one moment and say, hey, look, we're not doing this. What we do for one, we do for all. If he's actively helping, he's earned a meal, so he would have to go to Ms. Dawn to receive his meal.
right? And then if you turn to page 171, this looks like the acknowledgement signed by Mr. Palmer that he's received, the employee handbook.
Correct. That's the North Little Rock School District Employee Handbook. For my department, I send the employee handbook electronically.
Yeah.
And they all sign off, and I have an electronic signature as their email address that they have completed that test.
And that was at the beginning of the 24-25 school year.
Yes, sir. That's at the beginning of every school year.
All right, so you worked with Colonel Stanger on this extensively,
Yes, sir.
and then you're aware that Dr. Paluski, at Colonel Stanger's recommendation, issued the termination notice.
Yes, sir.
Do you support that notice? that
I support the
termination
notice because I support our staff, I support our students, and in any aspect, in any job, place of employment, people are to be treated like people. You shouldn't be yelling, saying things, cursing with staff, belittling staff, yelling and reprimanding students. and just doing whatever it is that you see fit. Everyone has duties and positions. We expect them to adhere to duties and positions. We expect them to adhere to their work schedule. It's there for a reason. We need you there for that purpose during that time. If we have to hunt you down, figure out where you are or your sleep, anything could happen. And when it comes to our students, we're trying to mirror an excellent path for our students, and they are our number one priority. Allergies and things like that, they're very important. If we had a student to fall out in the middle of the floor because Mr. Palmer chose to cook fish in a fryer that we serve our students, that we cook fries in, we're in trouble. It becomes a liability.
Yeah, it poses a liability.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll pass the witness. Mr. Palmer or the board members may have questions for you, Ms. Bryant.
Okay.
Mr. Palmer, this is your opportunity if you have questions for Ms. Bryant about the facts that she's testified to or about the
Okay.
exhibits that they walked through with her.
Yes, sir.
You'll have your opportunity to present your own evidence later.
Oh.
Okay? This is your opportunity to ask Ms. Bryant questions about things that she said. Inform the board about, okay?
Okay. Okay, so let's first address the recommendation of who were we supposed to call when we were late or tardy or absent. Was it you, or were we directly supposed to call Josh Perry?
I'm the person in charge of payroll, so anytime the phone rings 8060, that's my line, Mr. Palmer.
Okay, I have right here, I could send you the text, me and Donna directly to answer to Miss Mary and Josh. If I'm late, call him. Because she says that at 4 a.m. on this notice, she's never there at 4 a.m. We would call when people were late, she couldn't answer, so they said call them directly. And it's in the message.
I
And
would
you're-
object. I mean, he
Okay.
needs to be asking questions of
Yeah.
Ms. Bryant, not
Okay.
making statements to the board.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I asked the question.
I know, but
Well,
then you made a
yeah, but-
statement.
Okay, I apologize.
If I may,
You'll have a chance
I don't know
to-
how the court thing goes.
You'll have-
gentlemen, if I may,
Okay,
this is your opportunity to ask Ms. Bryant about the
Okay.
things that she said.
okay, okay,
You'll have an opportunity later to present your own evidence.
gotcha,
Okay?
okay,
So
all right.
if
Okay,
you
so,
think the board needs to know something else from Ms. Bryant,
okay, gotcha.
ask her that.
All right, so, let me try to go through all of these things. Okay. On May 15th, when you said that I clocked in and then I clocked back out, do you remember the text messages and what you heard from me when I called you back?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, this is the statement that happened on that day. When I clocked in at 7 o'clock,
Okay? So
did I not tell you that my uncle and my brother passed, and I had clocked in and got the phone call and ran right back out? And then your response was?
I don't remember that. Your uncle and your brother passed?
she said she doesn't remember, so it's your
Okay.
turn. You can relate that to the board.
Okay, so we'll.
Do you have other questions for Ms. Bryant
Okay,
about what she
so no,
might
I'm
know?
just gonna go through all the processes, okay? So so now let's talk about cause there's so many things, I'm trying to remember all of this.
Mhm.
Okay, so the first page 2. Falsifying records. We implemented a program at the
Yep, we're
middle of
asking
the
Ms.
year.
Bryant
I'm gonna ask,
questions. Okay.
I have to say it that way in order to, okay, well, so we implemented a program at the end of the year. Do you know about the after-school program that we implemented?
Yes.
Do you know what time it started?
No.
Okay. Do you have any recognition that Mr. Josh or Mary gave me a special time to have these snacks for this company, for this thing, and to be able to stay late?
No.
So, once again, the director and the coordinator that are over the position gave me authority, but you were not told.
I was not.
Okay. Okay, let's address another one. Was that March 21st? Do you recall what March 21st day was at the school for middle school?
You might need to give her a little bit more detail on that.
I mean, she wrote the statement on March 21st, so she should know what the whole statement
Yeah, but
was.
most people don't recall
Okay, well,
what
March
happened on a
21st.
particular day.
Okay, on March 21st, the day that you took the picture, what day was that at the school?
I didn't take a picture at your school.
No, March the 21st, that's the picture the picture y'all have, it says March 21st.
Which picture is it?
The picture with us dressed up. It was college day, professional dress up day.
Okay, do you recall on that
I
day
do
when you
not.
dressed up at being college day?
No,
And-
sir.
And
Okay,
we are,
okay.
and we are allowed to, whatever the school is doing, be a part of it.
If it was college day, was he allowed to wear something other than his normal uniform?
Yes, that would be the entire staff though, not just Mr. Palmer.
Okay. Other questions, Mr. Palmer?
Can I ask a question? No, okay, let me write it down, I'll write it down.
Yeah,
Go
let's
on.
take a note, let's get to Mr. Palmer, and
Okay.
then we'll have board questions.
Okay, so, okay. The clock that's over, the clock that's over my head, do you know what time it's gonna say right now if you went into the school?
If it's hanging on the wall and has, yes.
It's
If I
gonna
go
say
to the school.
8:45 a.m. The clock doesn't work.
Why doesn't your clock? Never mind.
Okay, well, there's a picture with a clock, you're saying it doesn't work.
And if you go right now, it's gonna say 8:45 a.m.
Okay,
The
so
same
Ms.
time in
Bryant,
that
are you
picture.
aware of whether or not that clock works?
No, sir.
Okay. Next question, Mr. Palmer.
Okay. So, on your 30-minute lunch break, what are you allowed to do?
Your 30-minute lunch break is an uninterrupted lunch break.
Okay.
It's your lunch break.
So were any pictures taken from the time I closed my eyes to the time I opened my eyes?
Well, I think you're gonna have to give her a little bit more context on
Well,
that.
I mean, I'm just defending what I was sent.
No, I understand where you're going, but you asked from the time you closed your eyes to open your eyes, what time period are you talking about? You're gonna have to give her a little bit
Meaning
more
the
so she
pictures
can
that
place
the
her.
pictures that they took of me sleeping,
Okay,
and if they were on my unofficial lunch break.
okay.
You said the one time that she used was 8:45 a.m., which I can, if you go right now, any one of you, go to, or call someone over there and say, hey, go look at the clock and see what it says. It's gonna say 8:45
Okay, so
a.m.
you're asking her
So,
if the
I was
clock-
on my lunch break, okay, I
Let me
apologize.
help you real quick. You're asking her if the clock in the picture is not accurate, do you have another way to say that that wasn't on his lunch break?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are employees allowed to sleep on their lunch breaks? Just out of curiosity.
It's not normal procedure, no,
Okay.
sir.
It
Ms.
says
Palmer, next
30
question.
minutes uninterrupted. That's what the handbook says.
Right, okay, sorry.
Okay. What else am I addressed? You have excessively chronically absent and showed, okay. Okay, addressing the tardiness and the absences. Do you recall the conversation that me and you and Josh had in your office of taking all my days and all my sick time from September 9th to October 10th?
I don't recall having a conversation with you and Mr. Clements.
Okay, that's when I went into the hospital and y'all told me in order for me to apply for FMLA, I had to use all my time up.
That wouldn't be true. FMLA only protects your job.
Yes.
It doesn't have
But in order
anything.
for you to apply for
Okay,
it.
okay. So, Ms. Bryant, do you recall having a conversation
do not.
with Mr. Palmer, Mr. Clements about his use of FMLA time?
No, sir.
Okay.
I
She
went-
doesn't recall, so we'll move
Okay.
on. And in your presentation, you can give your side of
Yes,
that
sir.
story, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
We're just asking Ms. Bryant her recall on things right now.
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, so excessively, I addressed that. Okay. Violated Arkansas law by failing to source food from suppliers. Okay. The seafood thing, I'm wrong. I'm not gonna deny that one. I am wrong. My staff, whenever we celebrated their birthdays,
This
if
is the
there's-
Mr.
time
Palmer?
for questions.
I'm gonna-
Mr. Beckett, I got it. If you stick with me,
okay, I'm
we're
gonna ask
asking
the
Ms.
question.
Bryant questions, we're not making speeches.
Okay, so I can't do the statement with the question. Okay,
You-
okay, I
right,
apologize.
Right.
Okay.
You'll have an opportunity for statements later. Right now, is asking Ms. Bryant
Okay.
questions about what she
Okay.
told the board.
Ms. Bryant, in the last 3 years, have you ever came to the school and joined us as we served any of these non-items that you say that we're not supposed to have?
No,
So you never had chili cheese poachers, you never had lasagna, you never had anything that we ever created outside of the work?
yes, if you guys were celebrating something at work, all staff did.
And it was food that was created by us, brought from outside, because we never used the policy school. So did you ever say anything to any of us about that, or did you join us in that?
I joined you, you have items in your kitchen to prepare those things. Lasagna? Yes, I had lasagna,
We don't serve lasagna. Nowhere on the menu.
but it's food that you have in your kitchen that's from a sourced product.
Deep fried Chicago style polishes, we don't serve any of those in the kitchen. So how was it possible that you thought that that came from there?
I'm not saying that it came from there.
We can run back cameras, and I will promise you, many of times you've came there and you've never said anything to us doing this. So how would I know if this is training and you're supposed to be the leader of training and you partake in it?
I'm not your leader of training.
So the question is, do you recall when they prepared special food for
I
celebrations?
have had
one of the
something
participants-
that was not supposed to be in
At the
kitchen.
time, what was your understanding of the source of that food?
That they all were indulging in that, the entire kitchen was
Yeah, but where
indulging
did
in
the
a
food
special.
Where did the food come from that was
Well, the
served?
lasagna I thought was prepared from the items that we have in our kitchen.
Okay,
And the Polish sausage, I guess he bought that or did whatever for his staff special.
okay.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Palmer,
All right.
next question.
Okay. Inappropriate and improper interactions with district students. I don't know where they get the many times, but how many times did this happen? That you said that I pulled a student out for the push-ups?
I never said that. I'm only reporting what was given to me, Mr. Palmer.
Okay, how many reports did you get that said how many times I had a student pulled out the line and do push-ups?
2,
2?
yes.
Did the student tell you why that they did it?
No, you did.
Okay, and then what was the response? I told you why.
You told me you paid them $5 to see how many push-ups they could do.
That is, okay, so is that, if someone wanted to, that is not a reprimand. Would you consider that a reprimand if I reward you? If you're on the football team, you consider that a reprimand?
I consider it unsanitary to have a student do push-ups in the middle of a cafeteria floor for $5.
But it's worded in the thing as I reprimanded him. That's not a reprimand.
Well, people have opportunity for statements
right,
later.
that's right,
It's
okay.
questions.
So next to
Questions.
the youth engaged, okay, I addressed that. Chronically absent, I addressed that. Okay, so now, do you recall the direct order I was given from Josh Clements about inventory?
No,
Okay. Did he privilege you to direct orders that he give me?
no,
Okay, so is it possible that he gave me a direct order and that's the reason why you didn't get the inventory?
it could be possible.
Is it possible that okay, can you tell me, oh, I gotta ask a question, okay. How many times did I call you telling you about inventory being lost, inventory not sent, and how many times work orders did we put in the year for inventory?
You put in work orders for internet issues,
Yes,
not inventory.
they're the same thing.
They're not.
The internet was not working and it was not keeping the work, so the inventory would not stay in the system.
No, sir. It wasn't put in the system.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
Okay. What else did I have? We addressed the dress code. We addressed, I don't even know who the 3 people are, so I can't address that. Okay, in the records it said that you you said that I called you, and I asked you, you asked me what was I to do when I asked you for a personnel transfer that did something. And what was the question that I asked you? Because you said the reason why I didn't further pursue the situation.
Do you understand what he's asking you?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm not following the
If I
question.
if I called about an employee
Mhm.
and they were disruptive, and then you would say, well, okay, you know the process of the HR, how long it takes to get. Do you recall that conversation?
I recall telling you the proper procedures to follow if you wanted the staff member out of your kitchen.
Okay. So do you remember me calling about any staff members?
I do.
Can you name the four that it is?
No, I can name the one.
I've only called you about 4 employees. And
Well,
you
I can only name the one that you wanted out of your kitchen.
Okay, can you please name that employee?
Cassandra Gilbert.
So I never asked you about Betty Box?
You have, Mr. Palmer. You've asked me about several of your staff members, but if you don't follow the procedures, I can't do anything to assist you with doing. You have to do your part so that I can do my part.
So did you never receive a write-up for, multiple write-ups for Betty Box?
I never received multiple write-ups, no.
Okay, did Cassandra get multiple write-ups?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm getting a little bit of concern about naming other employees who
I mean,
received.
these are the people that,
Sir,
go state,
if you
I'm sorry.
just give me a moment. Other employees who may have received discipline, those are usually personal records that we keep confidential. Ms. Gilbert's in the exhibits, and we've talked about her leaving the kitchen some, so it might be helpful there for context. But other employees, let's not use their names, but you can talk about them.
Okay, all right. So it is true that I have called you multiple times about employees.
Yes.
And in those situations, has any employee ever been removed? Has any employee ever been disciplined? Has any employee ever been reprimanded?
No.
So as a manager, what is it my job to supervise over employees?
Yes.
So if I supervise them and I see that they're doing negative, what is the consequences that's supposed to be done? The same way the consequences are being done to me right now.
You're supposed to follow the procedures set forth in the handbook.
So if I write a write-up for an employee,
Mhm.
and you just said, and I said I can show multiple copies that I wrote these employees up and nothing was done, what is the protocol for the manager?
You didn't give those to me, Mr. Palmer. So you have to remember, this is me. I never received any write-ups from you from your staff. I received several calls.
Okay.
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 Next question. Anything further?
I'm done questioning.
Okay,
This is.
now we'll come to the board. Questions? Getting ping pong here. Somebody, if you got
Go,
questions.
Mr. Taylor. Go,
let's
Mr.
start.
Taylor.
Now, we're asking.
We're gonna ask Ms.
questions
Bryant
to-
questions about the things she testified to, or questions on what Mr. Palmer asked her about. Yes. Mr. Palmer have a chance to testify, and then we'll have questions for him in a little
I
while.
just have one question. Go ahead.
What's the question?
Is it possible to move that phone?
Let's,
Okay, I'll try.
if it's possible, let's get through the board questions, then we'll take a break.
When did you start your new role?
I started my new role immediately, May of 2025,
Okay.
after the previous leadership.
May of 2025?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What type of communication or expectations or process or procedures were given to the people when you started your new role, so they would know, hey, this is how things are supposed to go, this is what I need you to do? What type of initial counseling or anything, did anything like that happen?
Yes, sir. We actually held a managers meeting, bringing in all of our managers. We gave them resources so that they would know who to contact, when to contact, the things we expected them to complete, end of the year processes, and how we were moving forward into summer school session. Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
All right, any other questions from the board?
You have any,
And
you have
that's
any
done, yeah.
questions? Okay, so Ms. Tia, I did have a question. So, well, I guess for both of you all. When y'all were doing like the food stuff, was this like during work hours or was it after work hours?
After we fed the student.
Okay,
You
we're
asked
gonna
me.
stick with Ms. Bryant for
Okay.
now.
That's fine,
And
that's what I
we'll get to
said.
Mr. Palmer.
That's what I said, Ms. Tia.
Yes, ma'am. You asked her
You
a
understand
question.
the question?
but
I
Mr.
don't.
Palmer started
I don't.
answering.
Could you rephrase your question?
I was saying, was the food done for during, what was my was the
think
food
she's
during
asking-
work hours? Did y'all like partake in the food like during work hours, or was this something that was an after work?
This was during work hours, during their breaking time.
Okay, and then, since you were there and had opportunity to partake in the food, did you think to inquire about the food at that time, or like the sourcing?
I
or
did
what
not. I did not.
Okay. And, hang on a second, I wrote down another one. Now, was this something that was like after like the kids' lunch period and stuff?
No, ma'am. It was not.
So this was in the middle of, y'all had lunch in the middle of them cooking?
They would have sessions where the students wouldn't be in. For me, visiting a school is often. I'm in 13 different locations. So if I come in and they say, hey, try this, we fix this, then I would partake and
Gotcha.
take that with me back to the office. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
gotcha. So it wasn't like a sit down
Correct.
in the middle of the day?
No, ma'am.
Where y'all was supposed to be getting the kids stuff?
No, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, yeah. Okay, now that's for Mr. Palmer. Never mind.
Okay,
I'm done.
Ms. Todd?
Okay. The people that you say wrote, question I'm asking you. I heard his question that he had asked you. The people that wrote, that was saying things about him, were these the same people that he had called you to tell you about, because you say you never received documentation from him about an employee? Everything he did, it was never in writing. Is that correct? Did I hear that?
Correct. It was only by way of calling him being angered and wanting them out then.
Okay, it was never no documentation.
No, ma'am, he never gave me any documentation.
Okay, so were they aware? Another question I'm asking you. When you got these notifications from him, did they start reporting things to you because you were dealing with the issue?
No, ma'am. I've always received reports concerning Mr. Palmer's, the way he acts in his kitchen from staff members. So basically, it would be he had got fed up and a staff member wasn't doing something that he wanted them to do, and they were in disagreement because he was the manager and it was something he was supposed to be doing. That would then lead to a cursing match. And instead of Mr. Palmer and this staff member writing statements or coming to the office, he would just call and say, I want her out. I want them out. And I would tell Mr. Palmer, I need a written reprimand for this staff member. You know that there's first a verbal, then there's a written reprimand, and there's a letter of concern. So there's practices and procedures for disciplinary action to happen. And Mr. Palmer never followed through on those things.
Okay, thank you.
Would that be, when you said that he was cursing, or they were cursing at each other, was that something that you heard over the camera?
No, ma'am, this is from the managers and
So
the
that was
staff
hearsay?
members. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
gotcha.
And him as well. He says she's not gonna curse me out.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, so you just heard that,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you
I
didn't actually hear
was
it.
not there
Okay,
for any
gotcha.
of that.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, I was just wondering, do you know about what time, when he started working in the nutrition food service? How long has he been here?
Yes, ma'am, since August of 2022.
August of 2022. Was there any, like, obviously some of these complaints were going on before management left.
Correct.
I guess, I don't even know, once, school's over, if there's anything that they do. Did anything escalate once management left, or is this all stuff that was,
These were things that were just continually happening from previous reprimands, and it just kept snowballing. It snowballed and got even worse once leadership was not there anymore.
okay. And then my only other question is, you know, I know if you can't call in at 4:00 in the morning, you can still turn in the paperwork for why you were out.
Yes, ma'am.
If that went on this whole time, because it was a whole long period that there was nothing turned in, were there any other employees not turning theirs in? Is he?
No, ma'am. Everyone knows that there's procedures. If you're out, in our handbook, if you're sick, you wake up that morning, you have to call your manager by 6:30 in the morning. Your manager then contacts the child nutrition office. That's the rule. At 4:00 in the morning, I can absolutely say that I was up because I was assigning subs to schools that did not have staff members there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
I noticed that the incident with the shrimp and fish was like April, I think, of 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
Were those things occurring in, because this does go back, like we've just said, back to 22, 23, 24. Were those kinds of things going on in his kitchen prior to April of 2025?
Not to my knowledge, no, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you, board members. We need a 5-minute comfort break.
Yes.
All right. We'll do a 5-minute comfort break, and then Mr. Beckett will have a closing set of questions from Ms. Pride.
I'll just call it after this.
Okay.
So he cut off that thing.
All right, no further questions from Ms. Bryant?
No. Maybe call our next witness?
Call your next witness,
We'll
please.
call Colonel Stanger.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bryant, you might leave the exhibit. Oh, no, he's got one, sorry.
I'm just gonna shut, Rhonda got it, okay. I'm just gonna shut the door.
State your name and your position in the district for the record, please.
Scott Stanger, Chief of Staff to the Superintendent.
And so where, if at all, does child nutrition fall within your realm of responsibility?
It's one of my 9 direct reports.
Okay, so the director of child nutrition reports to you.
Correct.
Okay. And it's my understanding that you worked with Ms. Bryant regarding the investigation and what was going on with Mr. Palmer at the North Little Rock Middle School. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the August 1, 2025 termination notice was issued by Dr. Paluski at your recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to explain to the board, Colonel, why you felt compelled to recommend to Dr. Paluski that Mr. Palmer be recommended for termination.
Okay. It started around April when the Director of Child Nutrition was placed on administrative leave. That caused me to essentially cover down and be the director. I couldn't be there all the time because I was doing my day job also. And so Ms. Tia Bryant was running operations for me, and another employee was running the ordering of food and all that kind of stuff. So the personnel and the operations of child nutrition was run by Tia Bryant for me, but I was acting as the director. I'd gotten numerous reports through Ms. Bryant what was going on and allegations at the middle school cafeteria. Had written statements, had photos, and so I went over there to meet Mr. Palmer the first time and do an assessment myself. At that time, I had been there, but I had been in the middle school several times, but had not been in the cafeteria. I'd been on the job for, at that time, maybe 4 months. So it was the first time we met, and I just asked him some simple questions. You know, I've got complaints of essentially tyrannical management style. And he said he was a very direct person. I said, well, you know, I've got photos of you sleeping. He said, well, it's on my lunch break. I can do what I want to do. It's uninterrupted. And I said, yes, that means you can eat lunch. It's uninterrupted, but no, you can't sleep because it's unprofessional with you in your office with windows and your staff's out there working. If you want to do something like that, go somewhere else or whatever. But we're not doing that in our office while your staff that you're supposed to be leading is watching you sleep. This escalated to some more reports and some more statements, but the one that really, really caught my attention was cooking in the morning when school was in session and cooking these breakfasts. And I asked, okay, you know, what are we cooking? And it came back shellfish, shrimp scampi, the salmon patties and this kind of stuff. So I immediately went back over there, and this time I took HR with me and just asked point blank, are you doing that? And he said, yes. And I said, it's a clear violation of Arkansas Food Code, and this is why. I'll put my RN hat on because I've dealt with kids and adults that have been in anaphylactic shock, and it is not a good thing. The allergen levels are microscopic to set off some kids or some adults that may not know that they are allergic to something, and they literally can die. The analogy I would use would be at the same kind of risk level, and not trying to go too much down the scientific road. It would be like one of our security officers that also falls up underneath me, is sitting there in the middle school playing with a weapon, has a negligent discharge, and that bullet goes flying through the school somewhere. It may not have hit a kid, but if it did, or staff or whoever, the risk level is catastrophic. The reason it's against Arkansas code to bring in any kind of outside food and cook it in a kitchen is to prevent that from happening. We don't have nuts, we don't do peanut butter. There's several things that we don't do to present exactly that, because on the risk level, it can be catastrophic. So I went over to address that, asked him, he said yes. And I said, why? Mr. Palmer replied, well, everybody does it. And I said, who's everybody? He said, other cafeterias. And I said, no, they don't. And then I asked, he goes, well, staff knows because central office people have been over there and eaten with me when I've done this. And I said, that caught my attention. I said, who in central office? He said, well, Dr. Hooper. I said, okay. I said, we're not doing that ever again. We're shutting that down because the last thing I need is for a kid to get injured or something like that. Then, which to me, on the risk and the most egregious thing out of the list of violations is literally number one. You just can't have that. Then looking at continued violations of safety, temperature readings, those are critical. We've got to do those. If you go by a refrigerator in any one of our walk-in freezer or whatever, you will see daily temperature checks with the initials, and that thing is pasted on there. Rip it off, enter the system, that's all it takes. You personally don't have to be the one, but somebody in there will do that. That also lets us know when if those things start running hot, we also have a maintenance problem. We've had 2 of those go down, and we've realized, we saw it on the temperature logs, yes, they're running hotter, we have an issue. 99% of the time, it's a maintenance issue. We can step in and fix it. So it's a maintenance issue, it is a health issue, and we do fall under 3 different regulators for any of our cafeterias. Any given time they come in, do an audit, do an inspection or whatever, we always have to be inspection/audit ready. Well, in the middle school, we weren't. Got more reports as May marches along about, there again, more tyrannical management styles and behavior. And at the end, I said, okay, let me see the history of the employee. There again, I started here in January the 6th, had no idea about the previous history, so I really can't talk about that other than what was in documentation. However, by looking at it, looks like got here in 22, been on a PIP every year since then, and I said, okay, where are we this year? By this time, like I said, the director for child nutrition was already out on administrative leave, had the staff at child nutrition go digging through in the office, pulled out of a drawer from the director's office, and there it was, a PIP for 2024 that went into 2025. And I said, okay, there's a long history here. It's even happened under my watch. Now I understand. We just can't have this. And then I made the recommendation for termination.
Thank you. Those are all the questions I have. Mr. Palmer or the board may have questions.
Like we did with Ms. Bryant, there'll be questions from Colonel Stanger about his
Okay,
testimony.
Colonel Stanger, the PIP that you said was under your watch, you say you started when?
January the 6th, 2025.
What date was the PIP?
The PIP was dated it was initiated October 24.
Okay, were you here then?
No.
So that was not under your watch, right?
I said it was discovered under my watch.
Okay. Next question. You said that I mentioned Dr. Hooper in the conversation that you had with me. Is that are you going on records to say that?
Yes, I'm going to say that. That's where.
Okay. And later when I able to use my what's the name? I recorded that conversation, the whole conversation, when you and Jacob came into the office. So I will.
Questions.
Okay. So once again, I'm gonna say on record. You said that I named someone's name.
From central office.
Okay. No, you said Dr. Hooper, not central office. You said Dr. Hooper. Is that true?
You said central office, and I asked who?
And are you saying on record that I said Dr. Hooper? You just said on record, I said Dr. Hooper. Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking through the conversation.
Yeah.
Dr. Hooper came up in a conversation. It may not have been that exact one, but it came up in a conversation. Because when you said central office, and I asked the question, who?
Okay, Mr. Palmer, any other questions for Colonel Stanger?
Colonel Stanger, do you remember the conversation of the reason why you initially came over to reprimand me?
I didn't come over the first time to reprimand you.
I recorded that conversation. Do you remember why you initially came to reprimand me when you sat in my office and tried to sit in my chair and question me? Do you remember what the conversation was that you initially reprimanded me or tried to?
I went over there to ascertain if the statements, the written statements that we had received were true, and then I told you what my expectations were. Do I remember it word for word? No.
Okay. Okay, so anything else, the question I have for you. In that conversation that you, when you came over to ask me the accusations, do you at any point remember judging me and calling me a tyrant in that situation?
No.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Okay, questions from the board? All right.
Who you going, which end?
I guess this end, but I don't think I have any for you. I don't think I have any for you, Sam.
Okay.
Okay,
Ms. Dodge, you have a question?
yes.
All right, go ahead.
It's not I just want to concern, why is the issue of Dr. Hooper's name coming up? You said central office.
I didn't even say central office.
What?
I mean,
She's asking
I'm
the
just
girls' name.
repeating what I heard. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And if you say central office, and there were people coming in eating, then the board ought to be hearing all the folk who came in and ate, because otherwise you throwing a name out there. And I guess Mr. Stanger, Colonel Stanger, Standard, okay.
That's close enough.
You told about the care of why things shouldn't be fed. The question, did you ask him how many people had he actually fed, or this was just one person that he had fed it for?
He never said how many it was for. He didn't even say who until he said, everybody's doing it, and I said, no, they're not. And then I said, why are you doing this? He said, well, I have people, there are people from central office coming to eat that food.
Oh, people, not just one person, people came.
People, and then I'll point out, page 97, there it is.
I read it, but
Okay.
I was just saying, you saying people, because then that we are doing this hearing, we just don't want to be throwing one name out there when there may have been multiplicities of names. That's not
Yes, ma'am,
equity.
but that was never identified to me when I asked.
Okay,
Because obviously, as soon as the word central office came out, I was now instantly curious.
just getting this straight, because it's in this documentation also that we read, that it's in there. So, but I just want to be clear, because I know we're on air, and
I have-
then somebody's going to be saying some things, but it's just a question that I'm asking you, and you have answered my question, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions from the board? For Colonel Stanger.
I do have one quick question. Do you know if this was something that was a call and order type thing, or was this a, hey, look, this is what I made today. Why don't you take this?
Oh, ma'am, I have no
okay.
earthly idea.
Okay, gotcha.
I just relayed the conversation that we had, and I was just like, it never went past that. As soon as it was admitting to bringing outside food, which included shellfish, into the cafeteria, at that point, I'll be honest, I didn't care. That's where I was really digging into, because I knew what safety hazard that actually was.
And I get that part, because when I hear, that, and I have seen and I know what that will do. I'm an EpiPen girl, so I have multiplicities of allergies and allergens that I have to look out for, and I have them placed strategically for a reason. So I get what you're saying.
How
That would
the process went I don't know. I just know that it happened.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Anyone else? Okay.
That
Mr.
conclu-
Beckett, any
that conclu-
follow-up?
That concludes the administration's presentation.
All right, thank you, Carl. And Mr. Beckett, you done?
Pardon me?
Administration's presentation is done?
That concludes the administration's
All right,
presentation.
Mr. Palmer, we'll turn to you. If you have witnesses to call, or if you have evidence that you want the board to consider, now is your opportunity to do that.
Okay,
This is not a time for a closing statement.
okay.
That'll come a little bit later, but this is your opportunity to give the board information you think they need to know to understand your closing statement, okay?
All right, this is the document from Josh Clemens, our former coordinator. To whom it may concern, I was contacted by Mr. Andre Palmer regarding accusations against him by the North Little Rock School District stating that he refused to comply with directives involving completing a monthly inventory. While Mr. Palmer was under my supervision, there was an issue with his link account at his campus. While attempting to submit inventory each month, a help ticket was placed with Link. To attempt to have the issues resolved, during the time period we waited on a fix, I instructed Mr. Palmer to print his monthly inventory sheets so that they could be filed out manually due to the software error. Up until the point of my resignation with the district, I was not contacted by Link with any kind of resolution. Therefore, if there is no proof within the software system of NLRMS inventory during this period, this is the reason. I am happy to answer any questions regarding this matter. Josh Clemens, please call me.
What is link?
Okay, and you're saying that's an email that Mr. Clements sent to you?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Beckett, have you seen this email? Has it been shared with anybody in the district administration?
No, directly from him to me.
Okay. And then, I think I heard a question about the system that you were
Yes,
describing.
the link system, and I also,
Just tell us what the link system is.
okay, the link system is, it pulls from one app to another app. And the thing is, at the middle school, we had bad internet. So if the link system went into sleep mode, it erased everything on the system. So if you went in and put something in the system, and you walked away, like say for instance you had to go answer the phone call, and you came back and it went into sleep mode, it took away everything. So therefore he gave us permission to put everything on paper. And I have all the copies on the file on the desk, still sitting there.
Okay. On the desk at the middle school that you use?
Yes,
Okay. And you're saying that the link system is a computer system that
Yes.
you use to manage the inventory at the middle school? is that
yes, sir.
right? And then if you began entering information into the system and you were called away and it went to sleep, you lost that information?
You
right?
lost that information.
Could you restart the system?
You restart the system, but everything would not be in there.
Okay,
So,
could you re-enter the information?
Yes, and then
And
we
then
had,
could you save the information before it
no,
went to sleep?
it's supposed to automatically save
Okay,
on its own. It's just once you link it in, and then once you save it, it's supposed to be entered for monthly inventory for the next month. And you
okay.
just change the numbers.
Did you provide those inventory sheets to?
Josh
the-
Clemens, yes, I did. And yes, he did come over to the middle school to do the inventory reports, and they still sitting on the desk.
Okay, did you provide those, not just to Mr. Clements, to anyone else, to Ms. Bryant or Colonel Stanger?
I was not directed to do that. I was directed to between Mary Lee and Josh.
Okay.
Let's say
But since you received.
Okay, the previous
That's all right.
administration.
Since you received the reprimand and the recommendation for termination, did you direct anybody to those inventory reports?
This happened after the school year was over and I wasn't in the school.
Okay, so you hadn't informed anybody in the administration that these reports exist?
No, sir.
What other information do you think the board needs to know about the
Okay.
recommendation for termination?
On my attendance, I have a doctor's, in my records. I was in the hospital for blood clots and I was out 3 weeks.
And when was that?
That was from
September and October of last year, is that what you're saying?
I think it was, yes, it was like September, I went in like September, I don't know. Cause I had, Tia send me the, doctor's excuse.
So the first part of the 24-25 school year, you had some time out.
Yeah, I used all my time. I sat in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Okay, so you were out 2 weeks continuously, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then after I got out, I had to go another week because I was not strengthened because I had blood clots on my lungs.
Okay, so then you had 3 weeks of continuous sick leave to
Sick
deal
leave
with that issue,
that I
is
had
that
to
right?
use all of it once, but I was informed that if I would have known, I wouldn't have used all of it. I just took the leave without pay. But I was told in order for me to apply for FMLA, the words that I was told was I had to exalt all my sick time and all my vacation.
Okay, well, I don't understand you to be recommended because of misuse of sick time. I understand the recommendation to be that you were tardy and missed days without submitting leave requests.
And to answer that question, I was never tardy. I was directed because, like I said, you said I couldn't do it earlier. I was directed by Josh Clemens when they implemented the program in March. They implemented an after-school program. The middle school had never had it in March. The kids, the assistant principal, the director, their program started at 3:45. We couldn't leave their snacks out for over hours for them to pick it up. So I asked Josh, I said, what do you want me to do? I said, you know, because they don't come to 3:30, almost close to 4 o'clock before this program starts. So sometime I would come in later depending on what the program needed. So that's why my hours would fluctuate according to that. My hours fluctuated because sometimes if Dawn was not there, then I have to come in later because I have to take the bank and I have to close. So my hours fluctuated according to what the work schedule was.
Okay.
Not because I was late. I could always make it on time.
Okay. Any other information you think the board needs to know about the recommendation for termination?
No, sir. I'm done.
Okay. Mr. Beckett? He'll have some questions for you about what you've told the board.
All right, so clearly you don't disagree with Ms. Bryant's testimony that you missed or absent over 20 days during the 24-25 school year, correct?
Do I agree that I was absent?
Yes. I mean, you heard Ms. Bryant testify that you were absent like 23 days during the 24-25 school year. You're not disagreeing with that?
I wasn't absent 23 days. I was absent 14.
Okay, so do you have any records that show that you were absent 14 as opposed to Ms. Bryant saying that the records show you were absent, and the records in our documentation show you were absent on 23 days?
I'm looking at the records and I don't see absences 23. I see the lates and tardies. I don't see absence 23 days.
Yeah, page 94. You can see down there at the bottom, it says 23.24 days.
And from 9, okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
And from 9
So you're not disputing you were absent 23 days during this past school year, correct?
Yes, I'm not disputing because yes.
And you would agree that's excessive absenteeism under
No.
policy, correct?
No, I would not agree because I did 16 straight days in the hospital. So of course I would be absent.
Sure. And then with regard to the tardies, you're basically calling Tia Bryant a liar. Is that right?
No, I did not call Tia Bryant a liar. I said that I had authorization from from previous administration.
And so when the say the internet was down, and that's what kept you from, keeping up with the inventory counts, is that right?
I did keep up with the inventory. It's sitting on the desk.
Okay. So if the internet was down, how could you play chess on your phone all the time?
My internet and the school internet are not the same.
Say that again?
My internet and the school internet is not the same.
So you're not logged into the school's Wi-Fi or internet system when you're playing chess on your phone?
What I do on my lunch break is my lunch break.
Okay, that's not what I asked you. So you're not using the school's Wi-Fi
No,
to play chess on your phone?
no, I'm not.
Okay. All right, and what I understood when you were asking questions of Ms. Bryant is you own that you violated Arkansas law by sourcing food and disregarding food rules for allergies.
I said, according to that right there, just like I told Mr. Stanger when he came in the office, I brought my own pots, I brought my own knives, I brought my own equipment, and every time we did anything for the staff, we threw it away immediately.
But I want to ask you straight up, you know it's wrong to bring shellfish and fish into the school, correct?
Yes, sir, I did. I definitely know now.
Right. And you knew it when you did it.
No, because we actually had fish in our inventory,
Okay, but
in the freezer.
but not shellfish.
We had fish.
I asked you a question. You didn't have shellfish in the freezer. Shrimp.
Seafood is seafood.
Okay, that's not my question. Shellfish is different.
Yes, sir, you're right.
You didn't have shellfish in the freezer.
No, we did not have shellfish in the freezer.
Okay. And shellfish is a potential allergen that can have very serious effects
Yes,
on people that are allergic to it, correct?
yes, and that's why we did it during our break time. That's why we used our own equipment. We didn't use any of North About School District's equipment. The only thing we used was the grease.
Do you now understand that it's not appropriate?
Yes, I do.
Excuse me. Do you now understand that it's not appropriate for the leader of the middle school cafeteria to be sleeping in full view of your staff?
What I do on my lunch break, if it's uninterrupted, it's my 30 minutes.
Okay, even if you're sleeping on your lunch break in full view of your staff?
When my staff go do what they do on their lunch break, I don't interrupt it. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
Some days I don't get a break, and you don't hear me complain.
Okay, would you also agree that you failed to submit proper time and temperature logs?
I was not in charge of time and temperature logs. I was in charge of monthly inventory. The assistant manager was in charge of temps and logs.
Okay, and who does the assistant manager report to?
The assistant manager reports to me.
Okay, and if the assistant manager wasn't doing time and temperature logs, then you should be supervising the assistant manager to make sure that's getting done, correct?
I guess so.
And time and temperature logs, for the reasons explained by Ms. Bryant and Mr. Colonel Stanger, are very important, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say about your inappropriate, rude, and unprofessional yelling and berating of your staff?
I am a 6'3", 275-pound man. When I talk with authority. I do not curse. I can get 14 statements from the females that none of them have never heard me curse. Just because I talk and I'm a big person, that's just, I don't even understand why it's even considered yelling. I don't have to yell to get my point across. I'm very educated in my conversation.
Well, you've been on an improvement plan literally since you started working as the manager, correct?
I had an improvement plan in 22, an improvement plan in 23, an improvement plan in 24. That's one a year.
Correct. And every one of those improvement plans were critical of your interaction with staff,
But they
correct?
were different situations, so they should not be held accountable all under the same thing. They were all three different situations.
But it's a common thread in your work performance, correct?
It's a common thread. We also, that out of the 13 schools, if you go into their file, 11 of the schools have also got written up for the same thing.
Why do you always want to point at other schools?
Because if you're going to point at me, then you should point, like I said, it happens at all the schools. That's my whole direction. A problem doesn't become a problem until somebody has a problem with you.
But your job is at the middle school. Your job isn't to supervise other schools, is it?
I go to other schools too.
That's not my question. Your job is not to supervise other schools. Your job is to supervise the cafeteria at one school. Is that correct?
I supervise at multiple schools, wherever Tia decides to send me on that day.
Okay.
So I am in charge of whatever school that they send me. We don't have a direct school. They can transfer us to any school any day.
Right, but your primary job.
Okay, primary, yes. Middle school is my job primarily.
Right. Okay. No further questions.
All right, questions from the board? We'll start on this side this time.
No question.
All right.
I'm sorry that you were in the hospital. What were the dates that you were in the
I
hospital?
was in the hospital from, I want to say September 3rd to like close to October something.
Thank you.
Well, that would be my same question, because I'm not seeing any date. The longest continuous off was 3 days, and that was in January. So there's not a continuous 14 days or 2 days, or there's a lot of time off during that time, but it was not continuous, as if you were in the hospital that whole time.
Let me
I have
say,
to,
I think
okay.
this might help you. I think page 138 in the packet is a larger version of that 138
Okay.
of that leave sheet. It's a little bit easier to read. But the main question was, when exactly were you in the hospital for that condition?
I would have to get the doctor's report, because I thought Tia sent me something, but you can't, like I said, you can't see what she sent me either. Everything she scanned to me, I can't read none of it. So none of it was,
You don't remember when you were in the hospital?
it was between September and October
Of what year?
of 24.
Any other questions?
It was about the food that the lawyer, I'm asking you a question that the lawyer said. Were you bringing food, the food that you were cooking for staff members several times, I guess this was a part of you fixing food, fellowship?
Okay, so.
But were you bringing this food in? I think the problem here, you bringing food in that is unauthorized, cooking it were you cooking it inside of the cafeteria, or was this something pre-cooked before you bringing it? Bottom line, I guess they said food about it is wrong, bringing it in, but would you tell me what kind of food were you cooking? I heard them keep saying seafood, and kids could get contaminated and get sick.
Okay.
Would
so-
you explain that to me?
Okay, so the food that was, okay, so if it was your birthday, if you were pregnant or anything like that, we all, on the day we got on the calendar, we celebrated you.
Okay.
So if you got married, we celebrated you. And what we did is we allowed the staff to pick what they wanted. So what do you want for your day? And that's what we created.
And
Okay.
when you did that, would you bring food in from outside, or would you use school food to?
No, we never used school food. We brought out, I paid for it or Don paid for it.
Okay.
We both paid for it, and we on our break, and I don't know what, it wasn't ever at breakfast time.
You'd bring the
And the
food
sound-
in, that's fine, and then
Yes.
you would cook it in the kitchen using your utensils and pots.
Yes,
and
I've got my own pots there, and the only
Okay.
thing we used was the grease, and just like I told Mr. Stenger, Mr. Stenger said, well, that's still, because.
You would fry food in the grease, is that what you're saying?
Yes, so
Okay.
he's saying that's still used in schools, probably because you're using that grease, but I said, we throw it away on Friday anyway.
Okay.
And
Let me stop, did that help?
Oh, yeah, and what
Okay,
about
so- And like I said, where they saying the salmon croquettes was already made the day before. They wasn't created there.
not,
Salmon croquettes was made elsewhere. The
okay,
shrimp were already made elsewhere. They were brought there.
okay. Next question. You weren't supposed to have a waffle in your cafeteria? Waffle?
A waffle
Waffle
iron.
Waffle iron?
Who said we wasn't supposed to have a waffle iron?
They, in the documentation, it said that you cooked Dr. Hooper breakfast of waffles and eggs on the waffle iron. That's why I asked the
Did you
previous
have a
question.
Did you have your own waffle iron in the kitchen?
Yes, I had
Did you
all,
cook on that waffle iron?
I cooked, yeah, I had a waffle iron, I had a, blender, I had all my, everything we had, I had myself, that way I didn't have to use school district stuff.
Okay.
Everything, I brought my own knives, my own utensils, I never used anything that's grant funded.
Were you supposed to have a waffle iron? I guess.
There is no rule that says we couldn't bring our own material. That's why we bring our own material. That's why we bring our own pots and plates. Because that way, if we want to take our own food home, because the rule is you can't take any food home that's from the school district. But if it's your own food, you can take it home.
So, on that, clarity, you weren't supposed to bring food into the cafeteria anyway, outside, although you say you brought it in. And the story that I'm hearing from the nutrition folk of what's been recommended, none of that was supposed to have been brought into the school period for the health of the children in case they were close to it or something. Can you explain to me a health issue that could really come out of your cooking and you bringing food into the cafeteria around children?
Yes, it's a problem. It would have been a problem, but I caught myself doing the precautions that I did by throwing away the grease, using my own pots and pans. That way, the children come with no contact with my stuff. Didn't think of the situation of the smell, or I guess like she was saying about how the airborne. So that was that's my lack of training and my lack of knowledge on the situation. But I called myself, like I said, doing as much as I knew to rectify the situation where, hey, throw this away, don't use this, don't use the what's name, use my own stuff, and yes. So, but in the beginning, I said that I was wrong for that seafood part. I understand that.
Did you have a problem following direction from your administrators?
Do I have a problem with following directives from my administrators?
Mm-hmm.
No, ma'am. I just some things I may have. I mean, I'm not perfect.
I know you're
And
not.
I don't do everything correct. I don't remember every rule that's in 2 handbooks. We're the only people that follow 2 handbooks.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
trying to keep you straight. You said questions only. You coming to work how do you feel about coming to work not with your regular clothes on and you the leader? How did anything ever happen to you or make you change your mindset about what you were doing was wrong?
On the day that I had that suit on, it was business. It was a business day, college day, and people that had degrees and what's the name? So yes, I graduated. I have a degree in nutrition. So and I also have a degree as a chef. So that's why I was dressed like that. If anybody would have made one phone call and said to me, "Hey, Andre, why you got that on?" Clearly could have said, "Hey, today is professional day. Look at all the kids. I told them to run the camera back." All the kids are dressed up that day.
Thank you for that answer. Make me feel better.
All right.
One last question I would like to ask you. Reading your statement and hearing the lawyer state, I'm asking you, do you have a anger management problem the way you have been accused of talking to these people?
I don't think I have an anger management. I think I come from the North. I'm from Chicago. So I'm a direct person. And 11 years in the military, I'm a direct person. I say what I have to say, and then I'm done with it. I don't hold no grudge. I'm not going to hold what I say to you. Once I say it, it is what it is. And I'm more of a direct person. I wish I could be more Southern. I'm a male over 14 females. That's all in a female-dominant position. And if I address you, that don't mean I'm yelling at you. I'm just addressing you for the wrong you did. But sometimes you addressing somebody, if you don't like the truth, then this is how I handle the truth. Well, he yelled at me. No, I didn't yell at you. I just told you what you did wrong and you didn't like it.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Mr. Palmer,
Yes, ma'am.
now let me ask you this. when you were talking to or disciplining your subordinates, did you maybe pull them aside and have a conversation with them, or did you do it out in the open?
When I first was doing it, I would direct them whenever. After I took the class, then I started bringing them into the office.
Okay,
So
that was
I learned that from the.
lack of understanding on your
Yes,
part. Okay.
yes. So I started addressing people in the office. But as far as what Tia Bryan said, as far as what the administrative person said, I've never cussed at an employee, ever.
Let me ask you this. So going back to the attire with the picture, if the school has something that's for, I don't know, Spirit Day, whatever that may be.
Pajama days?
Pajama Day, Spirit Day, you know. So is it typical that you may participate with the children's? Because what I have observed is that you're very involved with like the kids. Like they know you, they like you, they respect you. So is it just your choice to, I mean, because I take it as optional.
Yes, it is optional.
If you want to participate or if you don't want to participate, correct?
Yes, it is. But we always call both principals and we say, okay, what week is Spirit Week? We participate. The whole staff normally participates, especially pajamas. I don't know why my staff like to put on house coats and pajamas, but we all participate in every school thing, whether it's the 6th grade side or the 7th, 8th grade side.
But my question is,
Okay.
My question is, if I was working in the child nutrition, if I decided I wanted to wear my blue polo that day and not participate, I have that autonomy to do that, right?
Yes.
So, but if I decide, okay, I'm gonna participate in Spirit Week and I'm gonna wear Crazy Sock Day or whatever the case may be, so I can choose to do that or choose not to.
Right, because
so that was.
Yes,
that was an
because
optional thing, okay.
Yes, because they always normally did it at the same time. So some people would go with the 6th grade side, some people would go with the 7th, 8th grade side. It was your choice what you wanted to do. Just like when I always bought my staff T-shirts. I bought my staff T-shirts instead of asking nutrition to buy them.
How many polo shirts do you all have for the week?
3.
Okay, so if you get something on it or they may be dirty, then you almost have to wear something else, right?
Yes. I mean, I had one employee who was told by administration, and she's an extra small. Well, you have to just wear this because this is all we have. And we repeatedly sent emails saying, okay, this shirt looks like a nightgown on her. If we can buy shirts for everybody else, why can't we get her shirt?
So let me ask you this, going back to that clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you not put in why didn't you just take it off the wall and put a battery in it if it don't work?
Because it wasn't.
Or if it was a malfunctioning clock, why didn't you let somebody know?
Because it had been there. It wasn't working when I took over the position.
So, but when you get in positions of leadership, I'm thinking that, that you should try to make something better than when better when you get there. And just because I feel like if it's doing, if it was wrong then, if it was wrong now, if it's something that was broke, like, let me go ahead and see about getting that taken care of. So, and it's fun, like, what made you think, okay, even though it was your lunch break, uninterrupted time, I get it. Why would you think it would be a good idea to sleep in an open window?
Because I guess I look at it like this. In 2023, I went the whole school year, no assistant manager. Out of 183 days, I may have took 36 breaks. So that leaves me with 150 days I did not go breaks. I did the trucks, I did the inventory, I had to manage, and 183 days, I went not fully staffed. No manager has ever went through that, ever, where I didn't have no staff. I had to do what I had to do. I beg, I plead, we can't get nobody in here. I had to do 3 people's job. The worker job, the assistant manager job, and my job.
So what does that have to do with sleeping in the window?
So in that situation, if when I needed a break, I'm sorry, I took a 30-minute break and I took a rest. My health had me where sometimes I had to take a rest. And I apologize if it's the look and I didn't understand it, but I thought on my 30-minute uninterrupted break, I was able to do whatever I wanted because I never saw it in the handbook that said.
That's true. However, you have to think about aesthetics.
That's a question.
I was.
No, I was saying. ask the
Thank you, I
question.
appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Williams. I'm just saying, looking at aesthetics, that might be where you can go somewhere else and, just to think about that. Now, let me ask you this, going back to, staff, specifically district personnel eating, do staff have accounts there?
You said what?
Does the staff, whether they're in that particular school or district personnel, do they have accounts where they can eat?
I think you can access everybody's account.
No, what I'm asking you is like, if I'm a
she's
teacher
asking
at the
if it-
district,
Yeah, if a teacher or a staff member wants to come purchase food, do they have an account that they can use to
have
purchase food?
an account.
Some do, some don't. Like when the board, like when y'all came to eat, we would have to put you in as bulk. So it just depends on who it is. If you're not a person that has built an account or put money on an account, then we would have to put you in as a no ID bulk person.
There are accounts.
So, my next follow-up question is, so if someone that is a staff or district personnel filling in, could they still eat at that particular campus
Yes.
and have an account there that they can either pay for or prepay for?
Yes, because we can access your account. See, for instance, like if you're from Crestwood, I can call Crestwood and say, hey, Mrs. What's her name is over here subbing. She wants a meal. Can you put it on her account?
Okay. Now, my next follow-up to that is, so when you were talking and giving the information as far as you made the breakfast, I'm a little concerned because I know for a fact that that particular person does not eat fish nor shellfish.
Right.
So I'm just kind of curious as to how you made that, and she don't even eat that, but that's neither here nor there. But
I believe the point was
I'm
that it had occurred, not specifically who it had occurred with. I think that was the point. Mr. Beck, am I correct?
Yes.
what?
Shellfish had been cooked in the kitchen. I didn't hear them to connect up who that was made.
No, they made a reference of who. And
There's
it was made a
reference
reference in the packet too. That's why I was just saying
Yes,
this
ma'am, but
particular
I believe
person
if you
does not
look in
eat
that
but eat
packet-
fish nor shellfish.
I believe if you look in that packet, you won't see that shellfish is connected to that person. I think what the administration was making the point of was that it had occurred, not necessarily.
I
who it had occurred for.
understand what you're saying, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
get it. I'm not saying that this particular person has
Yes,
shellfish. That's not what I said.
Okay.
It's specifically saying in this
misunderstood. I
packet
apologize.
that it says salmon,
Okay.
correct? Which is a what? Fish. So therefore, I said, I know for a fact that she does not eat fish nor shellfish. So my point with tying all that together means that what he did had nothing to do with somebody else. That's the
Okay.
point that I'm making. And then if employees do have an account there, then that's not necessarily cooking for somebody. That's what I'm trying to get an understanding
Yeah,
of.
I don't think the administration was trying to
I was
cast
asking
blame on
Mr.
other staff
Palmer.
members. I think it was just Mr. Palmer. Right.
I
Yes,
get
ma'am.
it, but one particular staff member was made reference to. In
Right, I
this
don't think
pack,
anybody was trying to say that staff member did something wrong.
I didn't say that no one did, but I appreciate you, thank you.
All right.
I'd like to say something then on this same page, on page 97 that you're talking about. It says here a breakfast, and it has eggs and waffles. And then it also said salmon and fish patties, but it doesn't say what this person ate, but that's what the meal is referenced there.
Exactly, I
We'll
read that
have-
too.
Yeah, you can.
I got it, I read
You
that.
can hash that out in
We'll have
executive
executive session and y'all can
Sounds good.
have full and robust discussion about it.
I'm mean, I was just making a
Any
point,
more
but
questions
I
for
read
Mr.
it, cause
any
I can
more
read
questions
good.
for Mr. Palmer? All right, Mr.
don't-
Beckett?
I have one question.
Yes,
I mean, would you cook in a suit? I mean, I know that there's things that there's certain clothes I'm gonna wear I don't wanna do certain things in. So when you dress up in a suit for a professional day, does that make it hard for you to do your job? Cause I can't see myself in a suit over grease or, I'm just wondering, is that hinder you from doing what you need to do that day?
Ma'am, I've been cooking for 30 years. 30. I can cook in a suit. I can cook in what's name. And most of the time, if you run the camera back, I have my shoes and my chef coat at the job.
Okay.
I leave it there. So taking a picture of me at 8 o'clock when I walk in the door is not taking a picture of me at 11:30. Like I said, I requested multiple times from the administration, from the lawyer, can you also, since you took these pictures, can you take a picture an hour after that to show me what I was looking like? And they denied it. He denied it, Stanger denied it, Jacob denied it. Everything I requested for every video, I said, you send me a picture that they took. Go into the picture and show me the image that shows the exact date and the exact time that they took it.
For the record, we've provided Mr. Palmer with every record we have.
If someone takes a picture, if you look in it, as soon as you take a picture, right there at the top, it'll say image, time, date, when it was.
I think you made your point. I track with you there.
Could I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
One more.
The
513.
text message or email that you got from Mr. Clemens,
Yes, ma'am.
when did you get that? What is the date on that?
He had his keys and all his stuff in his hand, so he was just getting to work on his scope.
8/27.
August 27th.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Sir.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Y'all was like, sir.
She had asked a
I was
question.
like-
I'm sorry, I apologize,
All
sir.
right, I've been called once.
Clearly,
All
he
right.
was a man.
No, I was looking at her and then I answered you.
You're fine, don't worry about it. Mr. Beck, any follow-up questions?
Closing statements?
Do you have any other witnesses, Mr. Palmer?
No, sir.
All right, then we'll move to closing statements, unless you have some rebuttal.
No.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Beck, closing statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. So here's my take on the evidence. I think Mr. Palmer is probably an outstanding chef. Okay? But the problem is, he's not employed by the North Little Rock School District as a chef. He's employed as a manager. And I think the evidence shows that while he may be an outstanding chef, he's a horrible manager. Because Mr. Palmer's worked in the district for 3 years, and he's literally been on an improvement plan or receiving poor evaluations or being written up for all 3 years he's been in the district. And the write-ups aren't about, whether or not he's a good cook. It's all about management skills or the lack thereof. Maybe if there was just 1 or 2 employees complaining about how he treats them, it's like 8 or 9 employees, okay? Maybe it's just one isolated instance of a safety issue.
Can we pause that, please?
No, I mean, this is like
Oh, sorry.
time and temperature logs. Bringing shellfish into the cafeteria and cooking it, despite the safety concerns that everybody knows about. So based on that, I think the administration has clearly met its burden of showing that Mr. Palmer needs to be removed as the manager of the cafeteria at North Little Rock Middle School, and he can use his 30 years of experience as a chef to get a job, or maybe he already has a job as a chef at another location. That's what he can do. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Palmer, this is your opportunity for a closing statement.
Okay. In closing, I will say, the lawyer doesn't know me personally. So for him to judge me as a horrible person, I cannot say. I will apologize for the mistakes I made. Yes, I did make some mistakes. Some of these are true mistakes. But am I a horrible manager? No. Do I break my back to work for this company and love my kids? Yes, I do. Everything I do for my kids. My staff will tell you. I love my kids, whether they bad or good. But just because I have a little structure that's different than your structure, don't mean I'm wrong. In closing, I say, hey, I did what I thought was right at the time. I see some of the things that now are wrong. Is that lack of training? So yes. Is that lack of some type of people skills? Yes, I can say that. But every time Mary gave me something, I went and did it. So that meant I tried. So all I can say is, should I be punished? Maybe so. But not maybe so, yes, I should be punished. Should I be terminated? I don't think so. And I close.
Since the administration has the burden of proof, nothing further? All right, now it'll be time to move the board into executive session to consider the recommendation. You've heard the evidence. We've done this several times before, so I think you know the process. I have prepared for you, as usual, motion on the recommendation. It has your three options to accept, reject, or modify, and you'll recognize the lines where you have a modification, you write that in. You know, the twist under the new law is, used to I couldn't go back there with you if you had questions, but under the LEARNS Act, I can come back if you like me to. I don't go back automatically with the board. I'm gonna let you, if you want something from me, call me. I would say if your decision is to modify, please do call me so that I can look at what you're doing, make sure it's a modification that can be made, and also that it's accomplishing what you're wanting to accomplish in the modification. You'll need majority vote, simple majority, to pass whatever motion you decide upon. And I would suggest that while you're in executive session, you decide who's going to make the motion, and then let them come out with the form, and then you just read the motion as I have written here, and then we'll have a vote. Okay, any other questions? All right. I gave you 2 copies, so you
Okay.
have one to practice.
Come on, okay. Get your little coat, come on. are back.
We are back in session. Is there a motion?
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that the school board of the North Little Rock School District accept the superintendent's recommendation that the employment contract for Mr. Andre Palmer be terminated.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is passed.
Meeting is adjourned.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Well,
Oh.
is there some more business for the board to attend to?
Oh, that's right, we do have one more thing, don't
We
we?
have one more agenda.
Yeah, we
item.
have-
It's not a
We do.
hearing, I think it's just a.
It's just approve how
employment
hiring.
recommendation.
Oh,
It is. It's
okay.
another executive
Just a
session, I
what?
saw that.
I was like,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do all this tonight.
No,
I don't wanna reach
I
up.
think you're
Okay.
close.
I'm
I
sleepy.
think you're close.
Wait a minute, now what is this?
Employee and personnel, we just have to approve
Approve
tonight.
employment of personnel.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
little sister getting a little burnt out.
Bye.
Dr.
Be blessed.
Happy birthday.
Well,
Us
when's your
September
birthday?
birthdays gotta stick together. I say that every September.
Dr. Paluski,
What we got to approve?
we're ready for employment of personnel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll just have to read, yep.
Executive closed session per North Little Rock School District Policy 1.14A stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular or special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment if requested by the parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public session and presents the item for vote of the membership. Finally, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 1062C1 states, the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. Please join me in the executive closed session for discussing the following matters: employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee.
No, she has a guide dog.
Okay, we're on air, we're on air.
Oh.
Okay.
Madam President, I so move that we accept the recommendation of the superintendent regarding personnel.
Is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Madam President,
Yes,
I so move that we adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned.
It's Thursday night football. That's why
Thank you
Miss
for
Williams
this
wants to know.
lovely gift.
Miss Williams, who's playing tonight?
No.
Who's